It's 9:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You've had a long, hard day at work. You pull into the McDonald's drive-thru, craving that sweet Oreo-filled salvation. You order a McFlurry, and then you hear the words that break your heart.
Ice cream machine part is not working.
We've all been there. We've all felt that specific cold hollowness inside. But what if I told you the machine isn't actually broken? It isn't jammed, it isn't out of mix, and it definitely isn't waiting for a part to fly in from Germany. The truth is, the machine is working exactly as it was designed to, because the broken ice cream machine is actually one of the most brilliant and possibly illegal money-making schemes in fast food history. It involves a secret code, a $900 million lawsuit, and a device that McDonald's allegedly tried to kill. And the reason you can't get your dessert tonight isn't bad luck, it's a monopoly. To understand why your heart is broken, we have to first look under the hood of the machine that broke it. Meet the Taylor C602. This is the standard issue digital ice cream machine found in almost every McDonald's across the globe. And unlike your toaster or your blender, this machine is a total diva. It's arguably the most high-maintenance employee in the entire restaurant. The problem starts with a process called pasteurization. See, dairy is a breeding ground for bacteria. So, every single night, the Taylor C602 enters a mandatory heat treatment cycle. For 4 hours, it heats the milk and cream mixture inside its hopper to exactly 151 degrees Fahrenheit. It holds it there for 30 minutes to kill off any nasty bugs, and then freezes it back down again. In theory, this is great, because it means you don't have to disassemble and clean the machine every single night. But in practice, it's a nightmare, because the Taylor C602 has a Goldilocks complex. If the hopper is slightly too full, the cycle fails. If the hopper is slightly too empty, the cycle fails. And if the temperature varies by even 1 degree for a few seconds, you guessed it, the cycle fails. And when the cycle fails, the machine doesn't just say, hey, try again. It enters a hard lockout. The machine physically stops working. It refuses to dispense ice cream until a human intervenes. The frustrating part is that the machine isn't technically broken. The motor works, freezer works, the ice cream is right there, cold and ready. But the software has decided that you're not allowed to have it. So why doesn't the employee just press a reset button and try again? Well, that's where the real scam begins. So the machine's locked out because the milk was 1 degree too warm. Annoying, but fixable, right? You'd think the manager could just hit a reset button and try again, but they can't, because that button doesn't exist. To actually see why the machine failed, or to unlock it, you need to access the technician menu. And to get to that menu, you need a specific passcode, 5231. It's a 4-digit code that grants you God mode over the machine. But here's the catch. McDonald's employees aren't allowed to use it. According to the strict service contract, only a certified technician from the manufacturer, the Taylor Company, is allowed to type in those 4 numbers. If a manager tries to fix it themselves, they void the warranty. So instead of pressing 4 buttons, they have to call a guy. And that guy charges roughly $315 just to walk through the door. He drives out, types in 5231, presses reset, and bills the franchise owner a fortune for 15 minutes of work. Now, you might be wondering why Taylor would design a machine that's so temperamental and hard to fix. Is it bad engineering? Not exactly. In 2018, Taylor's financial reports revealed a fascinating statistic. 25% of the company's entire revenue comes from maintenance and repair parts. That is a massive chunk of change. It means Taylor makes more money when their machines break down than they do when they work perfect. They've essentially created a subscription service for ice cream repairs. And for decades, McDonald's franchisees just had to suck it up and pay the bill, until 2 innovators in a garage decided to hack the system. Meet Jeremy O'Sullivan and Melissa Nelson. They didn't start out as corporate crusaders trying to take down a massive food monopoly. In 2011, they were just trying to sell frozen yogurt. Their big idea was called Frobot. It was basically a vending machine robot that dispensed frozen yogurt automatically. And to make the yogurt, they installed, you guessed it, a Taylor machine inside every robot. But Frobot had a problem. The robots kept failing. Jeremy and Melissa realized the issue wasn't their code or their robotics. It was the Taylor machines. They were constantly locking out, displaying cryptic error messages like error 802 or system fault. Since they couldn't afford to pay a Taylor technician $315 every time a sensor glitched, they decided to hack it. They realized the machine was actually gathering a ton of data, but it just wasn't showing it to the user. So They built a small device about the size of a toaster. They called it Kytch. It plugged directly into the Taylor machine's secret data port and acted like a translator. Instead of a flashing red light and a confused manager, Kytch would send a text message to the owner's phone. Hopper is low on mix. Refill now. Or heat cycle failed. Temperature dropped at 3 a.m. It was like giving the machine a brain transplant. Suddenly, franchise owners could fix their own machines in 5 minutes without calling the expensive repair guy. It was a miracle. Jeremy and Melissa started selling Kytch to McDonald's franchisees in 2019, and it spread like wildfire. Within months, over 500 locations had installed the device. Owners were saving thousands of dollars a month on repair fees. Customers were actually getting their McFlurries. Everyone was happy. Well, almost everyone, because somewhere in a boardroom, the Taylor company noticed their repair revenue was starting to drop, and they weren't going to let a couple of hackers mess with their cash cow. This is where the story turns from a clever startup success into a corporate thriller. According to court documents, Taylor didn't respond to Kytch by making their own machines better. They allegedly responded by getting their hands on a Kytch device and holding a secret meeting. Kytch claims that Taylor executives obtained one through a franchisee, brought it to their headquarters, and started reverse engineering it. They wanted to figure out how two random people had solved a problem their own engineers couldn't fix for decades, but stealing the tech wasn't enough. They needed to kill the competition, and they had the perfect weapon: McDonald's corporate. In November 2020, McDonald's sent out a mass email that hit every franchise owner like a bomb. The subject line was serious. It demanded the immediate removal of all Kytch devices. The reason? Safety. McDonald's claimed that Kytch created a safety risk that could lead to serious human injury. They argued that a hacker could theoretically take control of the machine remotely and overheat the milk. It was a terrifying image. Jeremy and Melissa called this the pink slime strategy. It was a PR tactic where you associate your enemy with something so gross or dangerous that people stop asking questions. In reality, the Kytch device sat behind a locked panel and just read data. It couldn't physically move any parts or hurt anyone, but the damage was done. Terrified of losing their franchise devices, owners ripped the devices out. Kytch's sales went to zero overnight. David had been crushed by Goliath, but Jeremy and Melissa weren't about to let a billion-dollar company bully them into bankruptcy without a fight. And they had a smoking gun that McDonald's wasn't expecting. In 2021, Kytch filed a massive lawsuit against McDonald's and Taylor. They weren't asking for an apology. They were asking for $900 million in damages. They alleged everything from defamation to corporate espionage. But while the lawyers were fighting in court, a 24-year-old software engineer named Rashik Zahid was fighting on the internet. He tried to order McSunday in Berlin, and surprise, surprise, the machine was broken. Instead of just complaining, Rashik built a bot. He reverse engineered the McDonald's mobile app to check every single location in the US every minute. If a McFlurry was unavailable to order, he marked that location as red on a map. He called it McBroken.com. For the first time ever, we had real-time proof of the disaster. It revealed that at any given moment, roughly 15% of all McDonald's ice cream machines in the US are out of order. In some cities like New York, that number jumps to over 30%. This data was embarrassing for McDonald's, but it was gold for the right to repair movement. The Federal Trade Commission took notice. They realized this wasn't just about ice cream. It was about whether a company has the right to stop you from fixing something you own. And just recently, in October 2024, the little guys finally got a win. The US Copyright Office granted a crucial exemption that allows franchisees to legally bypass those digital locks to repair their own machines. It's a massive victory. It means that for the first time in decades, the repair monopoly might actually be melting away. So the next time you're sitting in your car at 9:30 p.m. staring at a static menu board and a tired voice tells you the machine is down, don't get mad at the teenager behind the window. It's not their fault. They probably want to give you that McFlurry just as much as you want to eat it. But the reality is, for the last 20 years, we haven't been dealing with bad luck or lazy employees. We've been dealing with a monopoly. We've been dealing with a machine that was engineered to fail because failing was more profitable than working. It was a business model built on keeping secrets, locking out owners, and crushing anyone who tried to fix it. But thanks to a couple of hackers, a 24-year-old engineer with a grudge, and the federal government, the wall of silence is finally cracking. The right to repair victory in October 2024 was a massive first step. But until McDonald's decides to prioritize happy customers over lucrative repair contracts, that little out of order sign isn't going anywhere. So if you really want that Oreo McFlurry tonight, maybe check the app first. Or better yet, just go to Wendy's. Their machine actually works. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of broken machines and corporate greed, do me a favor and hit that like button before it locks out for the night. And if you want more delicious stories served every week, make sure to subscribe to Eat This Story. I'll see you in the next one.